2 hours after I gave birth, I asked my husband to hold our daughter. He did not move. He stood in his tailored gray coat, staring at her like she was a stranger's mistake left on his doorstep. Then he leaned close and said the words that ended our marriage before sunrise. "I already have a son with another woman. I am not putting my name on this baby." I pulled her against my chest and smiled. "Remember this moment," I whispered. "It is the last one you will ever get from us." He laughed like I had made a harmless joke. He had no idea that by morning we would be gone. My name is Nora Vale, and this is the night my husband threw away his family, his fortune, and his future 2 hours after I became a mother. 4 years earlier, Adrian Mercer entered my life quietly. Then, all at once, I worked in contracts in Atlanta, buried in fine print. He was the heir to Mercer Development, built from one gas station into a skyline. He listened more than he spoke, remembered my coffee, and made me feel like a woman, not an accessory. His father barely spoke to me. In that family, silence was always a decision. I first noticed Celeste Park during our second year. She was his executive assistant, sharp and polished. At a holiday dinner, she looked at him across the room with an exhausted expression I could not name. After that came the small things. Calls in the car, trips that stretched, a receipt from another town. He explained everything smoothly, and I let him because it was easier than keeping score. When I brought up children, he went quiet. While I was tracking ovulation and crying in clinic parking lots, some other version of his life was already growing elsewhere. When I finally conceived, Adrian cried at the ultrasound. He painted the nursery and helped me choose June as the name. I believed we had survived the hard part. I did not know Celeste was already pregnant too. Later I learned his father had known for months and warned him to fix his private mess before the board review, or he would expose it himself. Adrian never told me because telling me would have meant choosing. The morning I went into labor, he stayed by my side for 11 hours, feeding me ice chips and holding my hand. I think some part of him meant every comforting word. That is what made it cruel. June was born at 6:47 a.m. I waited for him to reach for her. Instead, he stepped back. A minute later, he took a call in the hallway, and I heard a woman's voice on the line, angry and desperate. 2 hours later, he returned in a fresh shirt and told me Celeste had given birth to a son 4 months earlier. He said his father wanted the boy acknowledged, and that he would not claim June because the family needs an heir. I looked at my daughter, then at him. "You are choosing them." "I am choosing my future," he said. I smiled. "Then remember this room. It is the last one you will ever enter for us." My sister Lena arrived before dawn and took over. On my second night in the hospital, I called Josephine Shaw, an estate attorney who had been trying to reach me since my uncle Everett died. Everett had left me a voting trust tied to Mercer shares, one that let me demand a review of executive misconduct during refinancing. Adrian had no idea his family's old paperwork had teeth. By the end of the week, I was in a rental with Lena, filing for divorce. Celeste called before the board meeting and told me Adrian had promised to leave me. She sounded frightened, angry, and tired, in a way I recognized immediately. The boardroom smelled like coffee and panic. Josephine sat beside me while June slept against my chest. Graham asked Adrian whether he had fathered a child with an employee while certifying stability to lenders. Adrian did not answer. Then a former colleague produced messages proving Adrian had planned to keep both women hidden until it suited him. Celeste stood, looked at him once, and said, "You should have told the truth before it cost all of us." Then she walked out. The settlement took months. June kept inheritance priority. Adrian lost his position. Celeste's son was protected separately, and Adrian was left with what he had been willing to risk. Nothing solid, nothing honorable, nothing that could love him back. A year later, Graham met me for coffee. I did not forgive him on the spot, but I listened. Now June is learning to walk, furious and fearless, with my mouth and Adrian's stubborn chin. I keep Everett's letter, the one that bought my daughter a future Adrian tried to deny. Every night I whisper the same promise over her hair: "Nobody gets to choose your worth for you," and I mean it.